The Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program isn't actually a government program. There is a private company owned by billionaire Robert Bigelow. The company he owns is Bigelow Aerospace, and his company does entirely all of the private investigation of UFO reports and more with the government.
Bigelow's in space.
Bigelow's in space. His program is currently still working with NASA, the DOD, and he has his own private investigating team that is supposedly taking all the information from private, public, those two words don't make sense together, but like commercial, pilots. Non-government pilots, whenever they're flying around, supposedly if they see something that they cannot explain in their handbooks, they don't report it to their airline, the airline, the government, the air tower. They are given instructions to report it to this company, Bigelow Aerospace. And then Bigelow Aerospace will do the investigating of whatever that they find.
That's not a conspiracy thing either. That's like a proven thing. If they see some nonsense in the sky, they don't report it to the Air Force, the president, the government, their superiors in the company. The airport, they have to go to Deuce Bigelow, male gigolo, and tell him what they saw.
Bigelow Aerospace. Do you know what this guy's
so
famous
to hear
for,
that they're
too?
coming out with a third movie.
What's that?
He wants to build a hotel on the moon.
Who's the Virgin Airlines guy? These guys sound like they're in cahoots.
I don't know.
Richard Branson and Deuce Bigelow seem like they're dancing naked on the moon together right now.
Robert
in the
Bigelow.
motel room.
Let's not get this guy's name wrong. He's still a billionaire that could very much come after us.
Oh, Robert Bigelow, come after me.
Yeah,
Jiggle your little male gigolos at me. Guess what? Your gigolo, Deuce Bigelow, when you go to space, it's colder out there, so your gigolos are going to get a little tinier. Just a warning. That's a little science for you.
A little science, Bigelow.
It's crazy that for some reason the U.S. government has deflected to investigate this. We don't want to deal with it. Privatize it, or it's not even known that it's privatized. It's sort of privatized. We funded them for a long time. I don't know. Does that not seem a little honky to you?
Well, I can't think of a motive for them to do it one way or another. Like, if aliens are real, as the government, wouldn't you want to be the head of that organization? And if they aren't real, wouldn't you also want to be the head of that organization so you could shut people up and be in control of it? But I honestly think that leans more towards them, not aliens being real, but aliens being here.
Think about it. Don't even think about it in the lens of, are aliens here? Just think about it in the lens of, there is aerial phenomena that we cannot explain. The Pentagon released that footage. I know we've watched it together, of the FA-18 pilots tracking this thing that seems to move with unprecedented technology that we cannot explain. But the government is like, fuck it. We're not going to have interest in it. Pass it along. What's up with that?
It just seems like they're distancing themselves another layer so that people can't associate the government with it.
Yeah, because if I'm dealing with these complaints all the time, and every time it comes up the funnel to me and I'm the government, I'm going to be like, all right, you know what? I don't give a shit about this stuff. If there's anything important, we'll know anyways. So let Deuce Bigelow take care of it. and we'll just be on track of what's important regardless. But at the same time, I get that. Like if like the videos you said, Cheek, I feel like
have
that
you
would
seen
not.
those you know what videos I'm referencing?
Yeah. Where it's like fighter pilots and they like zoom down to right above the lake and then zoom away, and they released some recently. But back when I saw those and right after I saw the Bob Lazar documentary, I was more convinced than ever that aliens were here on Earth. But after hearing all these testimonies, it got sent backwards. But regardless, as the government, I agree with you, Cheek. Don't you want to know every time someone sees something? Regardless,
doesn't it make sense that the government is the entity that investigates the infiltration of our airspace?
Well, I'm sure
And
they
who else has
still.
the technology?
I'm sure they are still the ones in charge of dealing with all this, but they just put it under the title of Deuce Bigelow, and like I'm sure that there are government employees or qualified people that they put in that role, and it's just like a distancing for the public eye.
I could see that.
That's my take.
That's the only way that really makes sense in that scenario.